All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Pregame Show Network. I'm Tally Carr in Atlanta. Joining us from Boulder, Colorado, it is Uncle Neely. Uncle, it's very rare that I call you Uncle. Just without the Neely there. Usually I just call you Neely. So let's get back on track with that. Neely, it's very rare that we have like breaking news that we discuss here. We always just kind of analyze things, but we do have some breaking news as we sit here on this Tuesday. That transfer portal exit door, there's still a few more sliding out. We had two people today, at least two people, this is still developing, out of the running backs room. Savion Wilkerson and Dylan Edwards announcing they are in the transfer portal. A little bit of a surprise there. Did you see this coming? Well, what are your thoughts on this latest development?
Well, I'm going to tell you, as far as seeing something coming, there's no better person with discernment and clairvoyancy than Deion Sanders. So nothing catches him off guard in his program. So I'm not going to say that this is something that caught us by surprise. There are things that happen leading up to people hitting the portal that you kind of see the writing on the wall, if you will. So Dylan Edwards is effectively in the portal, even if not officially, and Savion Wilkerson, who transferred from Jackson State with Coach Prime to play here in Colorado, is in the portal as well. Two running backs who were featured, in this offense. Dylan Edwards had an outstanding game in TCU week 1 of last year, I think 5 touchdowns. Savion Wilkerson was able to add a touchdown to that as well. So their fingerprints on this program were there. But we had practice today without them, and the offense, the energy, nothing missed a beat.
So I kind of heard, you and I really didn't talk about it, but I, heard rumors of Savion Wilkerson, thinking about the portal, or maybe people thought they had information. I at least saw that online. I did not that I was detective looking for this, didn't see anything about Dylan Edwards, and he was more of a high profile player. He flipped he was supposed to go to Notre Dame last year, decided to come to Colorado. You said, there was practice today. The game goes on. There was still high energy. What will be missed, in your opinion, Neely, with these two players in the portal?
Nothing is going to be missed with them leaving the program. The program is going to move on. I will tell you this: when you look at things in chronological order, there does appear that there's just a nuance to this thing, that certain players don't want to compete, for their positions, or think that they should have, the lion's share of the carries or whatever happens in that room without competition. These were two guys, who were healthy in the program as far as their participation last year. Savion was not playing recently due to an injury and was not going to be participating, any this summer. Dylan Edwards was scripted to be featured in the backfield and as well as his passing game. Just last week at his press conference, he spoke about his excitement of being in that passing game. So when I look at this totality, Tolly, I have to look at the chronological order. Here's a guy who was seemingly happy, the past 2 weeks. Coach Prime at practice bumps up Charlie Offerdahl to the number 2. We sign a running back from Ohio State out of the portal, and then 2 backs leave. What that says to me is that some people have an issue competing for their jobs, and they don't think they have to compete for their jobs. If you look at Alton McCaskill, who transferred from Houston last year, he went in the portal first out of the running back room, and in his statement that he and his father put out, he clearly stated, wherever I go, I want to be the number 1. I have to be the number 1, or I'm not going there. So that lets you know why he left his program. He wasn't going to be the number 1. I think those other 2 backs either followed suit or felt there was too strong of a competition for them to have some guarantees, because don't overlook the freshman Micah, who's come into this program as a early enrollee and has been kicking a lot of butt in that running back room.
So paint the picture for us. With the absence of Wilkerson and Edwards announcing for the portal, who is in the running back room as of right now, or will definitely be there this summer, according to the portal, as you see it right now?
Well, you still have Micah, the freshman, who's been making a lot of noise. You have Charlie Offerdahl, the walk-on who was in the program before we got here, as well as another backup freshman in the room as well. And then you just signed a transfer from Ohio State. When you look at his film, he's put some great things on tape, running in that conference and Ohio State's offense. And so this running back room is still poised to make noise. It is going to be an intricate part of Coach Pat Shermer's offense. Nothing schematically has changed in that regard. We're still going to be, Tyler, let's face it, we have Shedeur Sanders at quarterback. We have the number 4 from all the experts out there. We have the number 4 wide receiver room in the nation, and part of it is Travis Hunter. We're going to pass the ball and pass the ball a lot. But this offense under Pat Shermer, his first year without being co-coordinator, was going to be focused on establishing the run to control the clock, to be able to do some things situationally. So a running back is going to be a heavy part of this offense. That was slated to be Dylan Edwards. Dylan Edwards has chosen to enter the transfer portal for a better opportunity. I would take it. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to Dylan. I do know everything was fine, early on in camp. And then there were some gripes about, not being featured as much as Shedeur or Travis. But that's just not going to happen when you're not Shedeur or Travis.
How many bodies do you need, or do you think is a goal for this program? Just like how many bodies need to be in that room to kind of fill your quota or what you're looking for, just to make sure things are in line for injury personnel or whatever.
Well, when you talk about injuries and having depth, I think you're looking at having 6 in there. But keep in mind, when you're going to have a feature back that's doing this thing, the Bears had Walter Payton, the Cowboys had Emmitt Smith, Detroit Lions had Barry Sanders. You didn't see running backs by committee. So to get it done, you only need 1. But this is a room that's going to be built around having multiple people, because some of those guys are going to have a role on special teams, some of them will have a role on scout teams, and then some of them add depth to the running game because backs have different styles of running. So I have no doubt that Coach Prime, Coach Flea, Gary Harrell, who's the head of that running back room, there's no doubt this room is going to be filled back up, through these portal days, which already happened. You signed it back from Ohio State, and 2 people leave.
So as you see it right now, just based off the numbers, there are 3 there, and for depth wise, you wouldn't be surprised if there are 3 more that end up on the roster.
I wouldn't be surprised if 5 more try to come, Tolly. This is a grand opportunity for some kid in the portal that's looking for a home at running back. What do we have here? We have the highest profile head coach in college football, bar none. You have the most talked about and promoted football team in college football, bar none. You have a potential Heisman winning quarterback in his senior season. You have the most phenomenal 2-way player in college sports today in Travis Hunter going into his draft eligible season. You have a totally revamped offensive line from last year going into this season. Who would not want to come here and be a running back? Who would not want to come here, particularly a grad student or a senior that's in the portal, come here and get an opportunity for a 1 or 2 done situation to really show what you can do behind this offensive line and with Shedeur Sanders passing to you in the screen game? I think this is going to be a room where now you're going to be turning people away because so many people are going to want to come and play here.
And just to add context to everything, because that's what we like to do, would you describe Dylan Edwards as the most high-profile transfer out in this portal season, and also slash the most surprising exit in the portal?
I never characterize any as surprising. I think profile-wise, you still have to give that to Cormani McClain. He came in here as a 5-star and at the number 1 in his position. I think Dylan Edwards is probably the biggest transfer out as far as the game impact they had. He did not have multiple games like he had at TCU, but that TCU game was a phenomenal performance. Dylan Edwards is a phenomenal running back, a phenomenally talented young man. Wish him all the best in his opportunity. But the train here is going to keep on rolling because the offense, whereas it was designed, with Dylan in mind to get him more active in the passing game, something we've talked about publicly on the pregame show, press conferences with Pat Shermer, press conferences with Dylan Edwards himself, it's really a plug-and-play situation. So the next man up, if you will, can still fill their role. So there's not a hard reset here or a sense of panic here. There is, he's chosen to move on. The next guys going to fill that void, and we feel very comfortable and happy with the guys we have in the room, and feel very pleased with the guys that we have coming.
I try to always sit here and think, Neely, what people in the comments might be asking or suggesting or thinking. I try to look from their point of view. Not asking you this as in, an absolute answer, but do you ever wonder, like, is someone else's bag or someone else's collective or someone else's NIL more sweeter to someone who might feel like they're maybe not high enough up where they're sitting there in Boulder? Do you ever wonder or feel like that could be influential as well?
The bag, if you will, the collectives, the NILs are a part of college football. I hope that any young person across America, not just Colorado, that is entering the portal, I hope they're entering the portal with a plan. I hope they're entering the portal with a destination in mind. You shouldn't just hop in the portal just to see who wants you. You should know who you want and have some focus of your own to control your destiny. So I actually hope that, some collective NIL was able to woo a player away from here, because that would just make sense. Here's what doesn't make sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is leaving a program because you don't think you're getting enough shine or carries. A program that has Deion Sanders at quarterback and Travis Hunter playing receiver on the offensive side of the ball. I can't even think of a like scenario where a back who was with Brady and Moss was also with the Patriots, and he's complaining that, well, I'm not carrying the ball 50 times a game. You're not going to carry the ball 50 times a game. You have a generational quarterback and a generational talented wide receiver, and that's where the focus is going to be. I'm not knocking somebody from exploring their opportunities. I do think that sometimes the grass ain't always greener, and that you had a prime opportunity in Colorado, and somebody's going to step in and take that opportunity and make the most of it.
What is a good fit there? Because when you look at Edwards and you look at we saw the things. Maybe not everybody saw it as closely as you and I did, Neely. But covering Jackson State, like, Savion was a absolute beast in the SWAC, and we didn't get to see that performance on scale at Colorado, but definitely a different type and style of runner than Edwards. So when you look at those contrasting styles, and you have up to maybe 3 or more opportunities in that room, what is a good fit for style of runner, or are you looking for contrast? Potentially bringing in new people there.
A good fit is somebody who wants to come here and compete. A good fit is a back who wants to come in and not be guaranteed anything but what they earn. A good fit is a back who's going to come in, learn the playbook, be at meetings on time, be a good teammate, not compare touches, but get knee deep in this offense and contribute to it. And I think that's the back that's going to accelerate and excel. Whether you're a back who likes to run wide, a back that likes to run between the A and the B gap, a back that likes to be in the screen game or even in the slot as receiver, I don't think any of that matters. As much as what does matter is you being a good guy for the locker room, a good team player, and get in and fit where you fit in and accelerate with your opportunities. And I think we have that in the freshman Micah. And I think with Savion Wilkerson transferring, there were some indications at practice this spring that their running styles were very similar, and Micah was not as injury prone as far as in his history. And so you could kind of see that maybe Savion was going to fall to the number 3 or number 4. And so that's probably likely a chronological reason why he transferred, whereas Dylan's transferring and trying to replace that, if you will. Have no idea, can't make of that. I know that Coach Prime has a wide open door policy for his players. He eats in the cafeteria with them, rides in the elevator with them, goes to strength and conditioning with them, has one-on-one meetings with them. And so every practice, every team meeting, he always asks the same questions. Who doesn't feel they're getting their reps? Who feels looked over? I would make sure that you're getting your opportunities. And so the reps in this program are distributed very evenly. The opportunity to meet with the coach is door wide open. So when you see a player, who decides, I don't want to be here, and doesn't even meet with the coach about it to try to get the grievance situated, says more about the player than it does the organization.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Dylan Edwards and Coach Prime kind of go back to Edwards' youth, or am I thinking of another player?
Yes, they were. Dylan Edwards, as a very young kid, was part of Truth and one of the other football leagues that Coach Prime was doing in Texas.
So surprising, because it sounds like what you're saying is that there wasn't a conversation between those two before the announcement gets out there, or at least not a conversation about that. It was kind of maybe more sudden than you would have thought.
There was not a conversation, unless that conversation is taking place right now. There still has not been a conversation.
All right, Neely knows. As I sit here 1,000 miles away, I'm just trying to probe and get context. But a very surprising announcement for the transfer portal today, as we sit here on a Tuesday, and whenever you might be listening to this, Dylan Edwards, Savion Wilkerson, both running backs, announcing they are going into the transfer portal and leaving the Colorado program. Well, Neely, some days it's just like this, man. We when we talked this morning, we weren't going to talk about this, but this got to develop, and we got to give the people the information and the context. We definitely appreciate that, and we'll have more content to come. I'm sure this conversation will go on in the comment section. That's what it's there for. But this is a special update right here on the Pregame Show Network.
Hey, Tolly, the portal giveth, the portal taketh away. Blessed be the name of the portal.
Amen.
Amen.